afternoon, and if you're coming home from working a long 9 to 5, we're having a good night as we bring to you another Bodyslam full recap show for the amazing Talktagon with Rami and Max. I wanted to add that in there.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
this past weekend, phenomenal. My man Max, how you doing?
Absolutely fantastic. Got to watch UFC 318 with my dad. He sometimes doesn't know all the fighters, but he's a big fan of Dustin Poirier, so he wanted to watch this one for sure. And he also likes Holloway too. I mean, how can you not? So that was I feel like everyone was kind of just like rooting for both guys in this, but because it was Dustin's retirement fight, you wanted the best for him too. So it was just an amazing event. I've been looking forward to so long, and yeah, I feel like it lived up to the hype. We'll get more into it as we go, but I was really happy with the card.
I agree with you. For months, we've been preparing for this big UFC 318 card at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. Somebody that we've watched basically all our lives. I remember the first time I saw him was in 2015, and thinking to myself, man, this guy's an absolute monster. From Anthony Pettis to going to Eddie Alvarez to going to Justin Gaethje to Max Holloway. So many men that he fought, whether they were champions or they were the absolute elite, and he always pulled off one of the best performances, or he gave it his all. He's always been paid in full, and he's always shown that he is the absolute best. Diamonds are forever, and that's what Dustin Poirier is all about. But this event was amazing. Like one of the best cards of the year, and an amazing ending and an amazing start to it. We'll get into, of course, everything about that soon. But it was just amazing that we were able to celebrate, and everything was built around him. From the music,
Mm-hmm.
the background, the scenery, everything was all about Dustin Poirier, as it should be. And it made me think to myself, there should have been a lot more like events like this where we can honor like a UFC legend's career. Not John Jones, but I'm thinking like Stipe Miocic. You know what I mean? I was thinking like guys like Frankie Edgar,
Yeah,
guys like guys like George St. Pierre,
Anthony
people,
Smith. No, I'm just kidding.
Anthony Smith, Demetrius Johnson. Like, Demetrius Johnson should have been one of those guys that was brought back in, but even though he didn't need to come back in, I know he
Yeah,
didn't want to come back in. But it would have been so nice to see him get like one of those finale fights, especially
totally.
against like a guy like Cejudo
Yeah,
and DJ in his final fight in the UFC. I think like, an actual final fight, not like you defend your championship, and then we're gonna trade it to fucking Asia for Ben Askren, which I'm happy to see Ben Askren still doing perfect, getting back to perfect health and everything, and
facts.
fighting against all the odds. But this event was fucking good. What a weekend it was. It was so much fun from the early prelims to the prelims to the main card. It was just a night of holy cow. What are we watching? What are we witnessing? Especially the main card, because we'll get into that later on, but if somebody did do a parlay for like certain people and they walked away with they could have walked away with big bucks. I'm just saying
Oh yeah,
that betting odd from if you bet from the very beginning to the end and then you got them all right, you probably walked away with at least $25,000. I'm guaranteed of it. But we started off the early prelims with the Lafayette hometown native Carly Gideus versus Nicolay Calari. I saw beforehand the tail of the tape, and I saw their fight history and their fight records. And Carly, she loves to throw the head kick, and
hmm
throughout the whole fight, I was thinking to myself, when is she gonna be able to throw out that head kick? And she was teasing it. She was teasing it, and I was happy, of course, for the reception that she got. From the fans and everything. Of course,
yeah,
why wouldn't you root for the Lafayette, hometown native? But it's the fact that these two went all out and they were just trying to kill each other.
yeah.
Cagliari got a good second chance back into this fight and was trying her absolute best to, not go on a losing streak. But Carly just did what she had to do, and in the end, she feinted that left, landed the head kick, knocked her opponent out, and everybody was losing their mind. It was just like her last fight, her last finish. Everybody was losing their mind, and the whole crowd was explosive. And why wouldn't you be? You know what I mean? If you're rooting for the hometown girl, you gotta fucking go all out, lose your voice right there in the first fight. What were your thoughts on this first fight for this card?
Yeah, dude, what a way to start. They came out swinging hard, and Judas kind of started to take over from there and started to impose her whalebow. And wow, she's really coming together well on the feet, where she's rangy and she's starting to be able to find her most dangerous weapons with consistency. She said that she trained that exact finish many times with her training partners, and she was like, man, I better be able to land this if I'm doing it on my training partners all the time. Otherwise, I feel bad doing it to them. I'm like, yeah, clearly all that training's paying off. Practice makes perfect, and she's coming into her own really well. I remember she came into the UFC like pretty inexperienced. Her fourth ever pro fight was in the Contender Series, so she was almost getting that Bo Nickel treatment straight into the UFC for you, even though despite not exactly having any sort of crazy pedigree background, she just came up through the amateurs, and yeah, dude, she lost her UFC debut, but since then she's had back-to-back finishes, so she's definitely one to watch, and I'm excited to see what happens next. She took a little bit of shots, but not much, so she should be able to fight again this year, and I can't wait to see what she does next. Yeah, one of the best strikers in that women's division.
Oh, she's getting she's getting crisp, as her nickname is, with her striking, and like you said, her Contender Series, they put her in there. She automatically, everyone expected a big favorite out of her. She lost. A year later, she goes in for a UFC debut. She loses. And when you're entering your second fight in the UFC, and you're on a 2-fight losing skid,
Yeah,
you think to yourself like, maybe the UFC might cut me if I fuck up here.
I was
But that
thinking
wasn't
that
the
for
case.
sure.
That wasn't the case, as this past March in the first round she got a head kick knockout, and
Yeah.
then this past weekend she recreates that magic, and she's just getting better. I'm happy for her. She has she had the support of her people in the background, but not only does that, she bounced back in the first and second round where she was getting pieced up a bit. It looked like
Mm-hmm.
her, not only what was she's not going for wrestling, but she wasn't landing all the perfect shots in the first round. Second round comes in, she starts getting that comeback. Third round, we all know how that goes when you're 1-1. Whichever person lands that lucky, perfect shot, you're going to be able to walk away with a big win. And she landed a even bigger shot than I expected. Another big head kick, knockout win. Carly Judy's, gets the victory here in the opener for the early prelims. And she also got a performance of the night bonus, which deservedly so. If you're going to explore the crowd like that, then you might as well get that big check.
Yep, I
And
agree.
happy for her, 2-fight winning streak. I can't wait to see what she does next. It's too early to tell, let her go against this person, let her go against that person. I want to see her do one more fight, and if she can win it off, that's 3-fight winning streak in the year of 2025. Might as well, move on to bigger and better things in
Yeah.
2026 if that does happen to be the case.
So she might have a ranking in a few next fights, where it's like one more unranked and then throw it to the wolves, see what happens, I'm like, she only has 7 fights, but man, if she's knocking people out left and right, I mean, let's see what she can do.
Especially that if her next fight is a knockout, whether it's a knockout or even she gets like a lucky submission, you might as well just throw her right into the wolves because she's doing too good to be beating up I'm not gonna call her opponents tomato cans, but when you start beating people so easily, people automatically label you as like a tomato can. So who knows what happens next? Our next fight was between Bruno Ferreira and the debuting undefeated Jackson McKee. And I was nervous picking this fight. By the way, we should fucking, I should, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
But
our predictions. I forgot about that too.
I know, my God, I'm so stupid. But like that, wow, like look at us. Who would have thought? You know what I mean? Like with us, like it's like a winning formula every time.
Exactly, lots of green, bro.
Yeah, here's the thing that always pisses me off is the fact that I always wanted to do these like 8 or 9 leg parlays and get them all right. But then there's always that one fight that we get wrong. It's like God is telling us you have to do 2 2-fight leg or 2-leg parlay. I don't understand betting. I'm from California. We can't bet here. If I do, I get shot. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's. If I put place bet, I'll have a knock on my door from Dana White or somebody, and they'll chop my legs off right there on the spot.
That's fucking illegal.
Exactly. But our next fight was Bruno Ferreira against Jackson McKee, the undefeated debuting Jackson McKee. And I was nervous picking these fights as we put up the predictions here. I was nervous picking this fight because of the fact that when you're making your debut, you got all the hype in the background. Everybody wants you to win. You know what you can do. You know you can put out there. And with a guy like Jackson, Prior to this fight, he was on, of course, undefeated streak. Knees and punches, Brado choke, guillotine punches, KO, TKO, guillotine choke, everything in the LFA to Shamrock, back to the LFA. He was dominating everybody in his path, earned his shot, rightfully so, against Bruno Ferreira. But if we're talking about Bruno Ferreira and the things that he's been able to do, in his last fight before this, he defeated Armin Petrosian by armbar. He defeated Dustin Stolfus by spinning elbow, Phil Hawes by flying knee, Gregory Rodriguez, who is doing has an amazing time right now. Gregory Rodriguez, he knocked him out with a counter left. Leon Ayu, but in a contender series, Bruno Ferreira is not to be fucked with. To both these guys, it's a situation where any lucky shot can be the end of the fight, and boy was it ever, because Bruno Ferreira only needed 3 minutes in this one, was able to get the takedown, was able to transition it and reverse anything that Jackson was trying to snap out of. And not only did he just snap out of that, he got the armbar, another one, almost ripped off the arm from the socket of Jackson McKee, got forced a submission, and that was it. Bruno Ferreira ends the streak, gets another big win in his pocket, and that was perfect for him. Funny thing is, he didn't even earn a performance of the night for that, which I honestly I would have given anybody with a finish performance of the night, for Saturday night, because everyone was just walking like left and right with like these beautiful big finishes, and it was amazing. But Bruno Ferreira, 2-fight win streak now, beats Armin Petrosian by armbar, beats Jackson McKee by armbar. What are your thoughts on this one?
Dude, what the heck? I'm starting to sense a pattern, dude. This guy's just a finishing machine. Never's been to the decision, not even when he loses. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon, because that is one dangerous dude. He's not the tallest guy in the middleweight division, but man, he packs a punch, and he's able to, once he gets it on the ground, he's lethal there as well, man. I think that this guy, the only thing that is an issue is his height, but even then, I'm like, he's so explosive. He's able to close that distance so quick that I'm a huge fan and believer of this guy. So I think that, come right back soon and face another pretty solid guy. Maybe not ranked, but I mean, maybe ranked. I feel like he could take it. I'm excited to see what he does next. He's one of those dudes, man, where he's either going to get finish or get the finish. And in this case, McVeigh was just not good enough. They really threw him to the wolves in his UFC debut. Straight to Bruno Ferreira is pretty tough. I mean, this is a dude, like you said, has knocked out RoboCop, who's now like a top 15, top 10 guy. So that definitely was not given any favors from the matchmakers, but he took his opportunity and unfortunately didn't get it done. But I'm interested to see if they bring him back or just send him back to the regional scene to get better. But hey, at least he, gave his all, but it wasn't enough. Again, when you're in there with someone that good, sometimes at least you're able to walk away somewhat healthy. Your arm might be fucked up though.
Exactly. I think that they should give him another shot. I think that Jackson McKee should get another chance in the UFC, especially with a situation with Carly Jerice. She lost her first fight. You might as well give them a second one to see how well they do. But not only just that, I think that I know the perfect opponent for him, Chris Moutinho. You know what I mean? If you ever need to sort out this fight, if you ever need someone that can get you back into that stride, it's Chris Moutinho. But all jokes aside,
on short notice, up a few weight classes.
As well. We could do it in 2 weeks even. We could do it in 2 weeks. Jackson's arm will feel better. Chris Moutinho's face will feel better. You know what I mean?
But
run it back. You know what I mean? But I thought it was amazing from Bruno. I'm happy for him. His nickname is Hulk, and he does smash through his competition. And I'm very, very happy to see him back in that winning stride, because he has a great spirit. A lot of people, it seems like they count him out very easily, and then he's always able to pull off the big upset. That was the middleweight division. If we look into the middleweight division, is Bruno even here? Let's go see here. He's not. So Garrett, I think this should honestly build him into like the 15 rank or whatever.
Yeah.
If he's destroying people, what's crazy too is that number 15 is Abus Magomedov, then Roman Kopylov, who just we're not gonna get to that, but then Paulo Costa, then Reina de Ritter, who is fighting this upcoming weekend, Brendan Allen, Marvin Vittori, like that 15 to 10, just competed. And then now it's all like a mixed up type of combustional clusterfuck. But that's besides the point. Bruno gets the big submission armbar win. does not get the bonus, surprisingly so. But we move on to. It's funny because last week we were talking about the release in theaters of Superman, and we got Superman coming back with Ryan Superman Span.
He's back for the
going
sequel
against
already.
Lucas Brzeski. And we spoke about Lucas as well, like Lucas Brzeski.
Yeah.
And wow, like, you know what I mean? Because we talked about how like he had that one big win, and we're like, oh, maybe he might get back into that stride, and then he went on a losing streak, I believe.
Yeah.
And then it continues because really there's nothing to talk about except for the takedown that Ryan Spann got. Ryan Spann was vintage Ryan Spann again, and I'm very happy to see that because it's been a minute, and to truly see him back into that stride that he's supposed to be in, and that he wants to be in, and just beautiful. Dropped him. Got the. At first when I looked down, I thought like where the crowd going all insane. I looked down for 2 seconds, and the crowd was going insane. I thought there was a ground and pound situation. I look up, and he just has him against the corner, sat down with the guillotine choke in, and it was all over for Lucas Brzeski.
For real.
Ryan Spann gets the big win, and
easy work.
Bonus for him.
No bonus.
Easy work, no bonus, but it was a. But I believe he was the one who said that he can't wait to go home. He can't.
Yeah.
Like, I just
like,
want to go.
Who do you
home.
want next? He's like, home. That's what I want next.
I just want to go home already. Prior to this fight, he lost to Waldo Cortez Acosta, who we all saw he's gonna get rude awakening in a couple of weeks against Sergey. Was it Sergey Pavlovich? Yeah. Waldo Acosta.
Yeah.
Waldo Cortez Acosta will be facing Sergey Pavlovich, and it feels like a torture fight because like why would you put him against that?
For real, he's taking out all the Sergeys. He just took out Spivak. Now he's taking on Pavlovich.
The last time that Ryan Spann won a fight was October 5th, 2024, prior to this one, where UFC 307 Pereira versus Roundtree was a phenomenal fucking fight. He defeated Owen St. Preux by guillotine. And then he comes and he loses and he comes back via guillotine. I just think you should just start like locking in that guillotine, like go to Dustin Poirier and say, hey, what should I do? And then you just see Dustin say, jump the guillotine every single time.
It's definitely his best choke.
Kill him every time. Prior to that, he lost to Bogdan Guskov, Anthony Smith, and Nikita Krylov for a whole 2 years straight. It wasn't looking nice. He defeated Dominic Reyes in 2022 for Ryan Spann. Then he defeated 2 years later Ovin St. Preux. Then a year later, he finally defeats Lucas Brzeski. It's been a rocky road, but it looks like every time he gets back into that winning stride, he can relax and he can not have to worry about his job being on the line. Whereas Lucas Brzeski, the nickname the Bull, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. His last win, which is funny enough because we mentioned how like Bruno Ferreira has like this pattern of arm bars, right?
Yeah.
His last win was over Walter Walker for Lucas Brzeski, who is now he's a prototype for the heel hook every single time we see it.
And somehow he survived.
Exactly. But he survived. He got the decision win. And afterwards, he lost at UFC 304, Edwards vs. Muhammad 2, to Mick Parkin by punches in the first round. Then he lost to Kennedy and Nzechukwu in the first round. Then he now lost that's 3 first-round finishes of losses.
Oh, yeah.
Like
he might need to go back to the regional scene because at this point they're not doing him any favors keeping him around.
I don't know the owner to one championship, but I think he might be calling and saying, "Hey, we need somebody." And it's going to be Lucas Brzeski who's going to go in there. And that's not a diss at him. It's just like this competition, I guess, is just too much for him. I guess, your toughness can't always be everything. Yeah. And then when your toughness can't bounce back for you, it just shits the bed every single time. That was the case here. What were your thoughts on Ryan Spann's guillotine choke to get back into the win column and to be able to go home?
I was thinking, man, if he can't make this look easy, then I'm extremely concerned for Ryan Spann because, like we talked about last week, Brzeski did have that one good win, but his record is 1-6 now in the UFC, so he's not exactly a tough fighter to get a win against. Obviously, if you're a random guy, then he'd probably kick your ass. But these top UFC fighters, they seem to make easy work of him. And Ryan Spann did that exactly what I expected him to do. So I'm glad that he's still the Ryan Spann that we know, that he's not completely fallen off a cliff just because he's taken some losses. And I think that the move up to heavyweight, while it did have a rough start initially against Waldo, I think that hopefully he can bounce back. I think that he is big enough for heavyweight for sure. So just keep improving, and hopefully he can bounce back with another win and get us a little bit of a streak going.
I agree. And that's what the best thing about this card was. There was so many like just finishes for us. Like I get when we get later on to the card, we're gonna be like, what the fuck was going on here for the main card? But I think it was like it was awesome. The main card was awesome. And that's why I can't I can't wait to get into it because like the records, it looks like Rami would be pissed off, right? No, I was actually very happy about everything. But then we get into our next fight after Ryan Span's big win. Jimmy Crute versus Martin Pacino, and
Another quick one.
It's another case, another quick one. All we had was 4 minutes to, take a sip of water, eat a snack. Well, speaking of, we had 2 comments here. We don't have one from our boy yet,
Randy.
surprisingly enough. But we got this comment saying, "Happy National Junk Food Day."
Hey.
We're talking about. Yeah, exactly. It's funny because we're talking about UFC fights where fighters have to make weight. So, junk food to them is like, whoa, that's toxic, man.
So unless you're heavyweight.
Exactly. Unless you're Derek Lewis, then this shit's scripted. You can make it. But speaking of, what do you call it? We're not at the featured headline, featured prelim just yet, but we got a comment from our boy.
Hey, facts. What's good, Brady? The GOAT.
Exactly. Brady, motherfucker, like holy moly, like he's slowly coming out of the woodwork. He's like Ash Williams in The Evil Dead.
The GOAT.
What is this? Damn, I'm your only viewer.
What is hey, bro, we're happy to have you, bro.
And what is this one? Would you rather see a tree grow?
You fell for that one. Come on, bro. Gotta read it first, bro. The Michael Bisping. Oh my god, bro.
Oh my god. That was good.
I love it, bro.
So freaking close. Robbie Hanna has been canceled all over Twitter for his stupidity of not reading. I hope we get more comments like that because that was actually funny.
Oh my god, bro! You've seen Bisping do those? Oh my god, his comments always cringe.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. It's so good. But oh my god, that got me good. I almost lost track. Jimmy Crute, this is Martin Pacino. A very early fight here. 4 minutes in, Jimmy got the takedown. Got 3 takedowns actually. And was able to. I'm not gonna look at that comment just yet. I just saw a comment pop up on the side of my eye, so I'll check that later. But Jimmy Crute got 3 takedowns in. He didn't need to dominate the whole fight. He knew what he had to do to Martin Pacino, and he locked it in. Got the armbar, which was nasty. He was yanked. Martin tried to get out of it, rolling onto his stomach, then rolled back onto his back. Got his arm yanked again, and it was over for. Jimmy Crute gets another big win, and it was a fun one. Like I said, this whole fucking early prelims was a lot of fun because we just kept getting finish after finish after finish. And Jimmy Crute, who, his last fight was against Rodolfo Bellato, and in a draw. He got choked by Alonzo Menifield. He did a draw with Menifield. Lost to Jamal Hill. Lost to Anthony Smith. His last win was in 2020 on the UFC Fight Night against Modestas Bukauskas. And since then, he's had the worst type of luck for the last 5 years. I'm surprised he was still here.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm surprised because loss, draw. Like, my God. At some point, I feel like somebody would have been like, hey, pal, I got to go back to the regional scene, which we always say. But that wasn't the case here. Martin Pacino, his last fight was against Modestas Bukauskas. He lost by arm triangle. Prior to that, he defeated Devin Clark. Prior to that, he lost Vitor Petrino, who is on a massive, fight win streak. William
so
Knight.
Now he's a heavyweight.
Exactly. Felipe Lenzi lost to. And that's the funny thing too. Martin Pacino went from being a guy who could defeat Khalil Roundtree by decision at UFC 257, Poirier vs. McGregor 2 in 2021.
Yeah, I remember that one.
To to the situation that he's been having now.
Yeah, it's tough. He has interesting moves and striking, but it's just not able to put it all together.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Jimmy Crute getting back to the win column?
I'm happy for him, dude. Like they said on the broadcast, he was really struggling where he didn't pick up a win. Before this, his last win was 2020. So
Yeah, 5 fucking years, man.
long fucking time. So like you said, I was a little bit surprised that they were still here, but he was always putting on he was just having bad luck with these draws, bro. I'm like, 2 draws in 3 fights is just crazy. So I'm glad he was able to get the win, and he made it look easy, dude. Pragnio is one of those guys, like you said, where had a good start, and when he beat Roundtree, I was like, okay, this guy could be legit, but hasn't really been able to get anything going too much since then. And yeah, I'm happy for Crute. Definitely the best he's looked in a while, able to get that win very easily. So hopefully he can get some momentum back, and we'll see what he does. Hopefully his mental's doing better. They said that was a big part of it. So, hey, dude, goes to show that, the mind is the most powerful the most powerful muscle for real.
Exactly. Lucas Brzeski will lose his job, but Jimmy Crute will keep his. So it's always like the thrill and the agony of the fights. And people are like, why did you have to mention the last guy? Because you're on a 5-fight losing streak, pal. Whereas somebody who's on a 5-year losing streak is able to snap that and get back into it. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. But we walked away with another. That was our 3rd straight first round finish, and then we have on another one. Islam Dulat. By the way, I should they put. I'll stick around. What did you guys think of Holland versus D-Rod? We'll get to that, of course. That was my favorite fight of the night.
The fight of the night, bro. And I
It,
just didn't like the bonuses on this fight where I'm like, I feel like they deserved it, or the main event is their fight of the night for sure, bro. But I also like Marvin versus Brendan Allen, who won it, but I definitely thought that they should have got some sort of bonus. Come on, that fight was a banger, bro.
I feel like Saturday night was a night to give a lot of big money. You know what I mean? Especially with Dustin Poirier headlining and his charity organization. Like, he's always giving back to the community. Dana, give back to the community. Come on, now. Like, what are you fucking doing? Like,
bro, I feel like it's starting to get to the point where it's like, okay, this guy. I feel like Kevin probably has a decent fight purse each time, so I feel like they're just like, well, since they already have a decent check, we won't even give them a bonus. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm like, I feel like it should just be the best fight, but I guess it's subjective. So
exactly. Islam Dudatev fought off against Adam Fugit. One wrong word there, and you could be on the counter thread. And another first. That's off 4 now. I feel like AJ Styles back in 2010 throwing up the 4 every single time. But Islam Dudatev fought Adam Fugit. And in 4 minutes is all it took to get a big knock. And it was torture. Like, the whole Fugit was like smiling and saying, "No, it's okay. I'm going back into the fire. Take more action. Step back. Go back into the fire." And then after a while, he couldn't take it anymore. And Islam walked away with a big win. And it was fun. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna ever complain about early prelims, nor am I ever gonna complain about like the type of shit that we see here. Islam has been on a big winning streak for the past couple of years now. His last loss was in 2019 for GMC 21. I don't know what the fuck that is. But after that, and oh, by the way, that was his first fight ever. His first fight ever, he lost. After that, rear naked choke, punches, KO, doors choke, punches, arm triangle, guillotine choke, decision, knees to the body, and then he finally got his shot at the Contender Series in 2024 against Benito Antunes, defeated him by elbows in the first round, and then now he got his UFC debut and then knocks out Adam Fugit with a left hook to ground punches. Like,
bro, this guy's legit.
I'm beginning to think that they have a really big monster on their hands, and that the welterweight division is going to have a lot to handle. Because you already hear the name, and I'm not going to. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to sound like a stereotypical person here. But when you have the name Islam Dulatov, you automatically assume that the guy is going to wrestle you. He's going to pick your ankles. He's going to waist lock you, drag you down, all this stuff. He's been able to do that. He can choke you out. He can do all that stuff. But he's like a prototype fighter. And it's fun to watch him. I'm glad that this was my first experience of him. Of course, it's his UFC debut. Why wouldn't it be? He has this big fight, Adam Fugit, who has a very tough chin and can, go out there and, take a lot of damage. But it was a lot of damage for him, and Islam got away with a big win. What were your thoughts on this big knockout?
Yeah, dude. I was wondering. I'm like, all right, Fugit is pretty good, but he's one of those guys where if you're able to beat him, then okay, then you're able to. Then I'm like, all right, then you at least deserve to be here. So definitely more than deserves to be here when he makes it look that easy. So yeah, man, I'm really excited to see what he does next. He's so rangy for that division, man. 6'3" welterweight. I'm excited to see what he does next. Only 26 years old. So this guy could be a potential future star if he keeps these performances up. You know, he said he has a freaking modeling gig for like Versace or some shit. I think today, yeah. So I'm sure he was able to make that because his face didn't get beat up too much, pretty much at all, honestly. So this dude making money in and out of the octagon. So this dude is too powerful, bro. Something needs to be done here. He's modeling and he's knocking dudes out. I'm like, come on, what is this?
Oh, he models?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Swear to
That's
God, like
crazy.
for high fashion, bro.
That's insane.
They're like,
That's insane.
he has to go work with for Versace after this on Monday. I'm like, bro,
Like, could you
how
imagine
do you
like a
book that
fucking
right after a fight? I'm like,
right?
your face might be fucked up.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, dude, you have fucking two black eyes, a busted lip, a broken
Yeah,
nose, and then Versace's like, all right, pose. Like, what's
bro.
going on
Like this is
here?
perfect for a vision.
Perfect. Oh, like, what do you call it? I don't know what they would call the line, like fully damaged or like unbreakable and fighters. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that'd be funny.
For real,
By the
bro.
way,
So crazy.
I put this I turned the thing on to where it shows comments on stage. So whoever's watching this, whenever you comment, it'll pop up on stage. Just be PG a little bit. Like don't get me in trouble here. But I don't really care. But that was the end of our early prelims, which was featured which was broadcasted on ESPN2, ESPN Plus, UFC Fight Pass, and Disney Plus. I fucking love that every time. Because could you imagine, like you have a kid, right? And then the kid wants to watch Bluey. And you're like, fuck Bluey. We'll put it on the fucking fight. That's his dad's fight. This is Bluey to you. And it's
This is
somebody
more
getting choked
important.
out to the blue in the face. Like, holy that's Bluey. That's the real Bluey, motherfucker. And the kid's just like confused, like, damn, what the fuck's going on here? Um, and we start off the prelim card, which is broadcasted.
Oh, the GOAT.
The fucking dog!
Randy.
Crank
Crank
that
that hog,
hog!
baby.
Oh, but I was scared. I was a little bit scared that Randy would not show up, but I'm very, very glad that he did. I'm glad that, you know, he loves us. He loves us every single week enough to always show up. Because, like, dude,
And we love him back.
there's been I'm on the right, yeah, episode 23. 23 episodes deep, and he always finds a way to say howdy. You know
Facts.
what?
Randy's the
If I
GOAT.
ever see him, if I ever see Randy, I'm buying him a cheesecake. That's it. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like he deserves it all. But we get into the prelim card, which was featured on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus. Once again, if you were a child, your Saturday was ruined because your father threw you out of the fucking door and said, "Get out of here! Get me a damn beer, damn it!" Let's watch some damn fights. But we started off with Atiba Abrega Gautier against Robert Valentin. That's a good tongue twister if you're thinking about it. But this was I had to take a second to remember this fight. Wow! Once I remembered it, wow!
For real,
Atiba's
bro.
fucking mean. That he's a monster. It's like Derek Lewis packed to a middleweight body. Every punch he threw was just scarier than the last one,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we got a first round finish. TKO punches, but it truly felt like a knockout. Atiba gets the big knockout win over Robert Valentin in the first minute. He did not slow down. He said, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go get some catering in there. I heard they got good cupcakes and brownies. I'm gonna enjoy myself for the rest of the night in New Orleans. What are you gonna do? And
For
Robert
real.
Valentin, Robert just got fucked up, and I feel bad for that. But that's the fight game. That's what we talk about. You know what I mean? You got
Mm-hmm.
one man has to go down for the other one to rise to the very top, to feel in the agony of the MMA game. And
Yeah.
Atiba, just wow, good work. Prior to this, when I saw him, I was like, you know what? I gotta go with him because he was only 7-1. His last fight was a knee in the first round against Jose Medina. Last fight to that was against Yota Naito. Left hook to ground strikes in the second round for the Contender Series. He earned his way for his UFC debut. Got a big UFC debut, and was brought back for this one. There's certain guys like Islam Dulatev and Atiba that are working their asses off, that are the future. That could be the future of this division, whether it's welterweight or it's middleweight, or they could even fluctuate because it
Yeah.
usually happens.
He could
A
go up
middleweight
for
fighter,
it. He's huge.
a middleweight fighter will be like, you know what, I'm okay. I want to go down weight class, which is crazy sometimes. And a
Yeah.
welterweight fighter will want to go up to middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it happen with Gilbert Burns. We've seen it happen with Khalil Roundtree. We've seen it happen with Frankie Edgar. Like Frankie Edgar was like one of those fighters where he can fluctuate. Even Kenny Florian. I think Kenny Florian became one of those fighters where he was bantamweight,
Yeah.
featherweight,
I think he went up to
lightweight,
welterweight. Yeah.
welterweight. I think he almost did middleweight. Like he
Yeah,
did
I think he's
every
so.
single weight class that you could think of. He always fought there. But Atiba Gauthier gets the big win over Robert Valentine
Yeah.
in the
Made it
first
look
round.
easy.
First minute, made it look easy. What were your thoughts on this big second fight for Atiba?
Dude, I'm thinking sky's the limit with this guy. As long as he's able to keep everything on the feet, is on another level, dude. And the fact that he's only 23, I mean, how much better can this guy get? I'm like, oh my goodness, bro. The size that he has at this weight class is almost like freakish. 6'4" with that build. It's like not only is he freaking built like a truck, he's also 6'4". It's like, how are you making 185? I have no fucking idea. But man, I am excited to see what he does next. Throw him back in there as soon as possible. Robert Valentine his record in the UFC is now 0-3, but he did make it to the finals of the Ultimate Fighter, so not too shabby. I don't know if he'll be brought back after going 0-3. We'll see, but I don't know. But all I know is Gauthier is a major problem, and I want to see him back in there this year, maybe multiple times this year, depending on if it's another first-round knockout. He's had, 7 straight finishes, and 6 of those being in the first round. So this dude's dangerous. So, yeah, definitely one of my most highly thought of prospects because, man, this seems like very unique where he has the size, the speed, the power, the precision, the timing. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Another thing too, with our next pay-per-view, we have a open co-main event slot. I'm not saying one of these two guys of Islam or Atiba should get that co-main event slot, even though it would be pretty cool to get that big rising prospect. But I would love for someone to snack one of those cards into the co-main slot, whichever card that we have already on the card, and then we can be able to fill in a spot, and then we can get Atiba back on the card because I think that he should fight again. I think he should fight one more time, even 2 more times this year, because if he's able to finish his opponents in the first round and just get back into there like absolutely nothing, then you got to keep pushing. If you have a cash cow basically pending, you got to fucking go all out for it. So congrats to Atiba. What do you call it? I believe he did. It's funny. I forgot to mention Islam Dulatov and Atiba Gauthier both got performance of the night bonuses along with College Elise. Those are the 3 performance of the night bonuses that we saw. The fight of the night we'll get to a little bit later. Actually, we won't get to it too far because it's right there. But we'll be right there. But our next fight was in the welterweight division. Nikolay Veretinikov against Francisco Prado. This is where winning streak ends.
Unfortunately.
Like we went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fight win streak. We did pretty good for ourselves.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby whatsoever. But Francisco Prado against Nikolay. I'm not gonna say last name again because I'll probably tongue twist that. But it was a fun fight. I was shocked a little bit because Prado, started off explosive in the first round, was trying to land these big shots, trying to go for the takedown, trying to do everything he can to take down Nikolay. And what was interesting about it was round ends where the little bit of shots, from Nikolay, and he's getting back into the action. And then from rounds 2 to 3, he just took over the whole fight. He used his size. Not only was his length perfect, but his fucking height was too much of Prado to try to take down over and over again. There were many moments where, like the third round, anything could happen. There could have been a submission. There could have been a big finish. But at the end of the day, Nikolay won by split decision, which was the right call. Prado took the first round. Nikolai took the second round, and then it was all down to that third. But the third round, I will say this: I did feel like it was very close. Could have been a draw, but it
Yeah.
wasn't one. It wasn't one of those fights where I was like angry about it. Where I was like, oh, they fucked up with that. The judges suck. No, they got the right call here. They knew what they were doing. This was our first decision of the night. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I thought Prado would do a little better, but Veretennikov is pretty tough. And yeah, it was just one of those fights where there was a lot of close rounds, but I do agree with you where I'm not mad at the decision, even though I picked Prado. I think he just didn't do quite enough to get it done. But he is super young still, Prado, only 23 as well. He's now on a 3-fight losing streak, though, so I don't know what they're going to do with him. Maybe send him back to the regional scene. He gets some wins, come back. Because I do think that he has a lot of potential. He's a little bit small for the division. Maybe he goes down in weight if that's even possible. He's pretty bulky for his height, but yeah, he's not the lankiest, the tallest fighter for that division, but he is always a fun fighter to watch. And as for Veretennikov, he is now reversing that 3-fight losing streak, so he gets his first win in the UFC. And yeah, I'm interested to see with him as well what do they do with him. Do they give him a step up or someone similar to Prado, where it was still a very competitive fight? Almost could have gone to Prado, but I think I'm not mad at the decision. So I'm not too sure what they're gonna do with these guys.
I agree.
Because it was both of them were on a losing streak, so it's kind of like, all right, what's gonna happen next if with these guys? But because it was so close, it's still kind of like, yeah, it's still pretty even. But yeah, it was still definitely an entertaining fight for sure. I'm interested to see if Prado, I think maybe he should go back. If I was him, and maybe if they didn't give me a good contract, I'm like, hey, let me just go back, get some more experience against some worse guys, and then come back and make a second run at it, because he's only 23, so plenty of time to go, whereas Veretennikov is 35, so it's now or never for him. So he'll probably need to get back in there as soon as possible and try to get a little bit of a streak going before it's too late.
Yeah, and with Veretennikov, another thing is with him being a welterweight, it feels like he's too tall to be a welterweight. You know what I mean? Like he's got so much size to him, but is it like he got too much size, or is it Prado's too short? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it feels like if Prado goes down to the lightweight division, if he can make weight, like if he has a good nutritionist, if he can make weight and whatnot, he'll do fantastic things. But I feel like it might come to that situation where they'll give him one more fight. They're gonna let him test himself out, and if it doesn't work out, then of course he'll be cut, and we'll probably see him again in like 2 or 3 more years. Because the regional
Yeah.
scene, a lot of people can get very easy fights like that, and get back into it and build up their streak. But there's always those rising prospects in the regional scene that, hey, you might think that you're gonna win all these fights because these guys are like green, but then that green looking fella looking like Hulk is gonna just strangle you out one day, and just that's
Yep.
it. And then you have to think about your career future wise. But congrats to Nikolai. Did a great job of getting out of his losing streak. Now it's off for Prado to find his way out of his own. But good fight, good fight. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I enjoyed it. It was a decision. And people might be like, oh, it went the distance. Who cares? No, this was a card where if it goes distance, it's gonna be a lot of fun. The whole time it was a lot of fun. Speaking of another fight that was a lot of fun, it went the distance, and it was the fight of the night, which
Yep.
we'll get into all that type of stuff later on. But Brendan Allen versus Marvin Vettori, a fight of brutal motherfuckers who hate each other. People hate Brendan, people hate Marvin. Like their fan bases are so weird because it's like, oh, why do you root for Brendan Allen? And it's like you'll hear like some crazy comments. And oh, why do you root for Marvin Vettori? And you'll hear some crazy comments, and you're like, okay, whatever the fuck. And these guys have they have a lot of heart. I want to say that. Like, no diss to them, no disrespect ever to them. They got a heart. They have a lot of heart, a lot of longevity wise that they've been into the MMA careers. But this is a fight that everybody wanted to see more than anything because these two have been bitter rivals for over a year now, maybe over a couple of years now. And I remember Duplessis commented before this saying that he wanted who do you want to win? I think it was Vittori. I think it was Allen. Whichever he said someone's tattoo was stupid. I'm assuming Allen's. So what do you call it? And at the end of the day, hold on, what do we get here?
Cold
Did
stuff
you
is
see it?
hating on us.
Yeah. Like, okay, I'm gonna just turn out the comments there because no, you shouldn't interrupt me talking and yapping. They try to say who the fuck cares about this shit.
I'm like, you're
You
watching.
click you click the link. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine you click a link and then you're like, what is this bullshit? And you're at Hercules, like, the nightclub in GTA. Like, what's going on here? Like, don't look it up until after the show. But Brendan Allen and Marvin Vettori, just bitter fucking rivals. They've been waiting to get into the octagon, waiting for that door to close, waiting for the Bruce Buffer to be done with his introductions to go out there and kill each other. And boy, did they ever! First couple seconds, first couple of minutes, and everything, we saw these two throwing blows, going crazy at each other. Vittoria's nose was all red, bloody, and everything. Like he knew what he was coming into, and he was more than happy to take all the damage. And it was a phenomenal fight. Allen and Vittori back and forth, trying to take each other down. There was many instances, I want to say, in the third round where Allen could have won. Allen could have easily won the fight if he would have just, threw down, threw a flurry of strikes and everything.
Yeah.
Same with the second round, same a little bit with the first round and whatnot. And I will say this: first round, it was very scary because he got taken down, he had his back taken, and he was getting pounded on the whole time. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, is this the end of the Allen train? Is Vittori back into action? Round two came in, Vittori couldn't get back into his groove. Allen was throwing all these big haymakers and straights, trying to work at the takedown game. And then third round came in, and he was just rocking Vittori left and right. It was a whole lot of fun. I can understand Vittori's frustrations, but it's like a situation where, like, when he had Izzy out of Sadia, you had an opportunity where you could take him down and choke him out, and you didn't. And then you had an
Yeah.
opportunity here where you could have taken Allen down and not stood up, but you kept wanting to stand up, and he kept wanting to go right into his face because you were so angry at him. And in the end, Allen won by unanimous decision, 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28. I think they were all very reasonable to have that. And yeah. What were your thoughts on this big decision win for Brendan Allen to keep moving up?
Yeah, I thought it was a super competitive fight, but Allen was just doing a little bit more damage. I think Marvin's one of those fighters where even though he has good technique and he has a lot of heart, he's durable. The main issue is he just doesn't do any damage, and he can't get any finishes, though. His last finish, I think, was, let's see here, all the way back in 2020 against Carl Roberson when he was on the come up, and then before
is Roberson
then,
even in the UFC anymore?
No.
Like, come on, man. Go on, my apologies.
And then before that, I think that's his only submission. I don't know. He had one in his debut, so he's had 2 submissions in his 9 UFC wins. Those are his only finishes. And then, so that's not exactly a very dangerous fighter. So I think that's the one thing with Marvin. If he hit a little harder, if he was a little better with the submissions, then he could really be a threat to these guys. But he's just able to make it competitive, but not able to get the win. So Brandon Allen got the well-deserved win here, and a much-needed win because he was coming off 2 losses and came back with the win. Can't wait to see what he does next. I know that he, has a lot of beef with a lot of the guys in the middleweight division, so let's see what happens next. Throw him in there against someone good again. He's one of those fighters where he may not be champion level, but he's definitely top 10, and I definitely want to see what he does next. To throw him in there against the prospect is something.
Because it is very interesting to see like how his career has went for Brendan Allen. Last year, April 6, 2024, he defeated Chris Curtis. Then he lost to Nasruddin Imavov, who has been, very, very tough. And, I think, was it Nasruddin who just knocked out Izzy a couple months ago?
He knocked out Izzy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Imavov, yeah.
And then he loses to Nasruddin Imavov. He loses to Anthony Hernandez. Like a week later, he fights for Karate Combat against Caio Baralo, loses by decision. And then he gets back into the octagon for, Marvin Vettori to settle this feud. The last win prior to that was last year, which it feels weird to go on like a 2-fight losing skid within that whole year, and then whether you're winning, because look, he won he had a big winning streak. He lost to Chris Curtis in 2021, Brendan Allen. He beat Gabriel Checo, Sam Alvey, Jacob Malkoun, Christoph Jocko, Andre Muniz, Bruno Silva, Paul Craig, and then he defeated Chris Curtis to get back to that revenge slot after a couple of years. Then he lost, and now he's back in the win column. He's a fighter that I know guaranteed well that he wants to be in that title picture. But it's the middleweight division that is so freaking different and so stacked that it's just hard to really, pick, oh yeah, he deserves to be in it because of this or because of that. No, there's too many options to pick from, and Allen isn't one of those options for the UFC at the moment. But I'm glad they were able to settle this bitter rival. They got revenge for each other. Everything was going perfectly well. Everything went perfectly well at the end. We didn't get no freaking like shove fest. Everybody wanted to make out and kiss each other and fight each other and all that type of bullshit. And that was fight of the night. That was fight of the night. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Give me one moment.
Goodbye, Rami. Both taking a fast shit, I think.
Go fuck yourself. No, I just needed to turn off my fan because I felt like I was wheezing over here. But it's so crazy. But no, hold on. I would say, fuck you, pal. Whoever you are, fuck you. That's all I gotta say for that.
Spend your free time watching videos you don't care about? I'm confused.
Like, come on now. What the fuck kind of bullshit is that? Whoever's burner that is, whoever is hating on me, go fuck yourself, pal.
Bro.
I have too many haters. I know that. I think I have like 2,000 people that want me dead already, but that's besides the point.
Internationally hated. Rami.
Internationally hated? I think worldwide hated because I know people in Qatar and what do you call it? Kuwait hate me. And there's a lot of comments I've made about those people.
Those starting beefs everywhere.
Like I'm an Arab, but what do you expect? I open my mouth. But then after we got through with a fight of the night, which we should have gotten more fight of the night bonuses. We got into Vinicius Oliveira against Kyler Phillips. And wow, damn. And this is my first time seeing Vinicius, I believe. And he was just monstrous. Like this is a performance just to basically, as an appetizer, you know what I mean? Like Friedrich Freeland heading into the main card. We got an appetizer, and he was just kicking ass the whole time, whether it's throwing, brutal knees, whether it was getting those elbows out, those straights, anything that he had to do, he was dominant with. If we throw up the stats over here, give me one moment, which he won, I believe, unanimous decision. Yeah, so he wins unanimous decision, and the whole fight, it was just 102 strikes to 54, one takedown out of 4 attempts to Kyler Phillips 0 for 5. No submission attempts, no reversals, 96 significant strikes to 49, and 1 knockdown compared to no knockdowns for Kyler Phillips. Oliveira is just really fucking mean, and I feel like this was the test that they wanted him to have, of course, before they send him up to bigger fights. Because let's look at the record over here. Prior to this, he defeated Said Nurmagomedov, he defeated Ricky Simon, he defeated Bernardo Sapaz for a fight night, and then he had a contender series in 2023 against Victor Madrigal. Prior to that, he fought for the United Arab Emirates fight league, and where he got a win, got a loss, win. Like it was just a bunch of wins. His record is currently 22-3, I believe. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
23-3 now, I think.
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
22-3 record, just phenomenal after this win. And I'm thinking this is what I'm thinking to myself, like, what's next for the guy? Because like you can't be having him fight, Kyler Phillips, another version of Kyler Phillips next. You got to give him a big step up in the action. And this is the bantamweight division, a division that's very, very stacked as it always is.
Yeah.
And because Merab Dalavishi is the champion. Sean O'Malley just lost. Umar Magomedov just lost. Future Young, we don't know how he's going with this. But Vinicius Oliveira, He was ranked number 15 against the number 12 ranked Tyler Phillips. He defeats him, so of course he knocks himself into that ranking of number 12. Then we have Ayman Zarabi, Henry Cejudo, Rob Font, Mario Batista, Marlon Vera, Dustin Figueiredo. Who's in it? Figueiredo is not a bantamweight anymore, is he?
No, I think he is. I think he was a 125er and then he moved up.
Oh, yeah, he moved up the weight class. Thank you. Dustin Figueiredo, Song Yadong, Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen, of course, we all know he's next in line for the championship.
Yeah.
But a guy like Oliveira could very well keep moving up. He could defeat Rob Font. He could defeat Marlon Vera. I guarantee you, I have all the money in the world. Oliveira could beat Marlon Vera. Oliveira could beat Marlon Vera. That's such a tongue twister.
For real.
Dustin Figueiredo, who is like basically almost top 5 fighter. Song Yadong. There's a lot of fighters in this division where they're ready to fight and they're ready to take on anybody, any of the action.
Yeah.
So, what were your thoughts on this decision went for Oliveira, and what do you think happens next?
My heart rate always goes up when Oliveira's fighting because he is always risking it all, bro. Like, his hand's always down at his waist. And that first round, Phillips was looking good, started out well, but slowly got overpowered by Oliveira, where Oliveira is huge for that division and is able to just walk these guys down, literally walk. And it's crazy to see, man, how he's able to keep doing this. I keep thinking, I'm like, okay, I love watching this guy, but I'm like, I'm a little worried once he gets, to the ranked opponents. But first he beat Ricky Simone, then he beat Said Nurmagomedov, now he beat Kyler Phillips. I'm like, all right, those are some legit names on your resume, especially for, your first couple UFC fights, and you're getting these wins against solid opposition and now ranked opposition. This guy definitely needs to be in, fighting another ranked guy, probably top 10, top 15 at least, and see what happens, bro, because this guy is going to be a fan favorite if he already is, and now he's just going to keep growing as he keeps being put on these pay-per-view cards, these big cards, and yeah, man, with a style like that, you have to watch because you're always thinking this guy is okay. One perfectly timed shot, and his chin is right there, and he just never gets clipped. And he's able to, I don't know if it's psychological or purely physical dominance, so he's able to just walk these guys down and control the fight and get the win. And yeah, I can't wait to see his next fight. Give him someone legit, give him someone elite, which he's already been fighting legit guys, but keep doing this. And I want to see this guy. Hopefully he can get up to the top contenders and maybe fight for a championship one day, because it's always fun when the top guys have crazy unique styles and are really going to bring fans to watch what happens. Like, for real, who doesn't want to see a dude walk around with his hands down but still able to get the win in dominant fashion, like outstrike the guy, land double the amount of punches even though you're not defending with your guard whatsoever, just purely head movement and footwork. It's crazy to see, but he gets it done, and man, it's so much fun to watch.
I'm gonna just throw it out there. I want to see him fight Marlon Vera next.
Facts.
Like those two styles. Plus, the way that you were describing his fight style, he fights just like Natalie Silva. You know what I mean? Like she is a beast, and she's already in that top position where she's right there next in line for the championship. She should be in the championship fight.
Yeah.
If they don't book no super fights. But hold on. But it's the fact that Oliveira can just walk these guys down and just put on some amazing action. And there's so much going on in the bantamweight division that just a lot of these fighters want to kick ass, and a lot of these fighters want that championship fight against Marab Dalavishi, the Wallace really. But I'm very, very excited to see what happens. This was a great performance, and it ended off for us to go into the main card, which was wow. Hold on. Actually, hold on. I don't want to see that just yet. Look at these wins. Look at those wins, man. Look at all those good, beautiful.
Get a good look at them. They won't be around for long.
Anyways,
well, 8-1 for you in the prelims, 7-2 for me, bro. So I was feeling amazing going into these main card. I'm thinking we're probably gonna go get all of them right. These will be our only losses.
Yeah.
I was feeling great.
We were gonna be perfect. I was like, hey, I'm not. I was like, huh?
The hat is coming back.
You know what I mean? The hat. Yeah, we'll get the hat later. But I was like, huh? We might be seeing something beautiful here.
Oh,
which I got. What's a happy color? They always say pink, right? They say
Yeah,
pink, right? They
pink,
say pink.
bright.
'Cause yeah, like a bright pink. I gotta get like pink version of these, so like I can go from revenge to like happiness. Because like
Exactly.
I don't want to do blue because then I'd probably just puke. But um, but we ended off 8-1, 7-2. Always fun. You know what I mean? It's always fun to end the prelims on a high note. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
We take a good. Which, by the way, I want to say the hat that you're wearing. I didn't think it was a hat at first. I thought you were wearing a do-rag.
Don't worry, it's a hat, and my hair is still here, guys.
Yeah. No, no,
It's
no.
messy.
I thought it was a do-rag. You know
Well,
what I
I
mean? Like,
actually have a few, but they're not actual do-rags. But when I'm in the gym boxing, I wear these like skull caps because my head is so big, all the headbands fall off. So I'm like, I just got to get a full ass skull cap. And hey, dude, they actually work really well.
hell
Keep
yeah,
my
hell
hair
yeah.
out of
Yeah,
my
'cause
face for real.
I was like, what is this man playing GTA here with a do-rag out, or
Bro,
walking around like,
this
yo,
Sean
what a
Strickland.
play. Yeah, literally, like, yo, what a player. I'm here for your daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. But we move on from the prelims and we head into the main card. Wow.
Oh, off the red.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, oh,
oh.
oh.
What happened to us, though? We were doing so well. Then
Fuck.
I'm like, we might not never get one right again.
I legit thought, like, and that was the worst part. When we get to the cold main, I wanted to text you, fuck you, bastard. Why did you do this to me? But wow, I thought this card was awesome. I thought,
Facts.
and people be like, oh, but you guys lost a bunch. I thought it was awesome
Facts.
because
We're unbiased.
earlier,
We can
earlier,
appreciate it.
yeah, earlier in the week, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm gonna beat this guy's ass, and I'm like, sure. But then when he actually beat the guy's ass, I'm like, wow, that
For
was
real,
awesome.
bro.
Let's get
Michael
into the main card.
Johnson, Exhibit A.
Michael freaking Johnson is an exhibit A of that. Because a guy who has knocked out Dustin Poirier before, he has fought against the very elite fighters. He's been here for over a decade. Like this guy, he's just
For real,
this
bro.
this is home. He's gonna buy a good portion of the UFC when he's done and just live in there. Just live in the UFC.
Facts.
Just whatever room he wants, he can just live there. But
Permanent UFC Ultimate Fighter coach or some shit, for real, bro. I love Michael
exactly.
Johnson.
Exactly. And Michael Johnson, he said earlier this week, I don't like this punk. I don't like this kid, Daniel Zellhuber. He's too cocky. His ego is out. I know they're talking shit about me and his team, and all of his people are talking bad about me. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna kick his fucking ass. And the first round, thankfully, like the main card was so freaking deep in my head that I remember like the good piece by piece stuff. But the first round, I thought Zellhuber was having a great time. The body kicks were landing perfectly, crisp and everything, and those head kicks. I thought it was getting to a point where Michael Johnson was just gonna get tired and try to go for the wrestling because you're getting kicked over and over and over again in the forearm. Your arm's getting tired. You have to raise your arm up again. It's gonna get tired. You know how it is when you're blocking and you have to block your face the whole time. You're taking all these punches to the arm. It's gonna get tiring at some point.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson didn't feel that way. Zellhuber at the end of the first round was standing with his coaches, laughing, having a good time, thinking, hey, this is nothing for me. Michael's just an easy target. Second round comes in, and Michael said, fuck it. Dropped Zellhuber, put him down on the ground, and was just wailing on him, landing all these beautiful strikes. Zellhuber had nothing to gain out of this, and he was not going to gain anything whatsoever. He was having a bad time. Michael Johnson made it round two, a very tough, fight for his life. And then we get into the third round, and it felt like a continuation. Like Zellhuber was trying to bounce back into it with the head kick. He kept, trying to land it over and over again, trying to land more and more. There was a point in the third round until watching it back over where I thought, oh, Zellhuber won just by this much, just because of the head kicks and just because of the action that he put out. But Johnson was still landing. Johnson's significant strikes were still right on top. And in the end, we got ourselves a winner, and it was Michael Johnson, the big underdog,
Yeah.
giving us the main card loss for the both of us. And just wow, because Zellhuber prior to this, he was he lost to Esteban Ribovic for the UFC sphere card. So he lost to Ribovic. Prior to that, he beat Francisco Prado. He beat Christos Giagos, Lando Venata. He lost to Trey Ogden. And then he won his contender series against Lucas Almeida. He lost his UFC debut He bounced back with a big 3-fight winning streak, and now he's on a 2-fight losing streak against Esteban and Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson, who has been in the UFC forever, like you could just keep going down. He's been fighting in the UFC. He went into Ultimate Fighter in 2010. His first ever UFC fight was on UFC on Versus 4. That's how fucking long he's been in the UFC for. He defeated Edward Faliotto by punches in the first round in 2011. June 26, 2011, I was not watching the UFC. I was more than likely watching a SmackDown or WWE Raw episode or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I knew about the UFC, but I just didn't know that deeply into it. And then as the years progressed, he beat Tony Ferguson. He beat Dustin Poirier. He beat Joe Lazone. He beat Melvin Gillard. He beat Edson Barboza. He defeated Andre Fili, Artem Labov, Alan Patrick, Mark DeCasey, Darius Flowers, Ahmed Azatar. Like, there's a lot of names he defeated where if somebody tells me when he retires, oh, he should have been in the UFC Hall of Fame, you're lying to yourself. Because he guaranteed earned himself a shot in that just because the longevity-wise. You didn't have to be a champion, but the longevity-wise of constantly being in the UFC since 2011 till now, dude.
Yeah, and the names on his resume, solid.
Exactly. It's 15 freaking years. Imagine like any other player in the NFL or NBA or MLB who spends 15 seasons with one team. Everyone always says, "Oh, that guy should have his jersey retired." Michael Johnson should have his name retired in the UFC.
No more Johnsons ever.
No more Johnsons. I meant to correct myself. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He should guarantee be immortalized as one of those guys that never gave up, that always bounced back from adversity, and always put in an amazing time. Plus, I did like that what he had to say after his fight. In the post-fight, where he wants to fight. He wanted to fight the winner of the main event, and I thought I was like, you know what? I could see that happening. I would love to see that happen.
BMF.
You know what I mean? BMF title, Michael Johnson, because Michael Johnson has already beat Dustin. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he deserves this shot right there. What were your thoughts on this opener, and what were your thoughts on Michael Johnson getting the big win over here?
Bro, Michael Johnson, bro, he seems like right when you think it might be over, he comes back and like goes on a nice little streak and puts on a nice performance. And wow, this was mad impressive, bro. I was pretty high on Daniel Zellhuber for sure. But nah, bro. Old man still got it, bro. The speed was ridiculous. He was able to use his defense well, use his experience, and got out that win, bro. It was definitely an amazing performance. Like you said about the head kicks, he was blocking him a lot, but thankfully, he was able to not get caught with one because Zellhuber has some crazy hard kicks. But the experience of Michael Johnson, he's been in there with some of the best kickers in the world. He has a win over Edson Barboza, one of the best kickers the UFC's ever seen. So this style is nothing new to him, and he's probably seen every style known to man at this point. So
remember, he fought Khabib. Khabib, bro.
So Zellhuber was in for a tough one. But I thought Zellhuber would be able to get it done. Use his explosiveness, use his range, keep Michael off of him. But no, man, Michael, he was able to use his speed, use his head movement to get into range and land some tough shots, get the knockdown in round 2. And yeah, I definitely think he did enough to win. And yeah, man, Michael Johnson, MJ, even though he's like 39, bro, he's still getting it done. And 3-fight winning streak. He hasn't had this long of a winning streak since 2015. So this dude is having a second prime at this point. And yeah, I love to see it.
10 years later, too.
For real. Love to see it. 40-year-old second prime. It's coming, bro. The title run starts now. Johnson. For real, bro. Watch out. Watch out, Ilya. Michael Johnson's coming. He's coming for your ass.
Oh, my goodness. And that was the end for our opener for the main card. And then we get into a featherweight bout, Dan Ige against Patricio Pitbull. Last time we saw Patricio Pitbull, he got pieced up and destroyed by Yair Rodriguez, who's now next in line to fight for the championship. And I picked Dan Ige with the full confidence. I mean, you picked him as well. We both picked Dan Ige with the full confidence that Patricio Pitbull was, in a way, losing his the love for the game. and that he was not going to fight the same way that he did, during his days of Bellator. And it's just so funny how Daniel Cormier during it was like, I never watched him in Bellator. So I don't know how his fight style is. And then when he started, bouncing back, Patricio, he's like, see, this is why he was so successful in Bellator. You just told us that you didn't watch him in Bellator. It's like me saying, see, this is what Jesus wanted for us. Sir, are you an atheist? What does that have to do with anything?
For real, bro.
You know what I mean? Come on. But Patricio Pitbull kicked ass. Dan Ige was somebody that I expected to come in here to have a great performance, but he it was all about the survival instinct. You know what I mean? Patricio Pitbull came out and he told everybody earlier that week, that I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna be aggressive. I'm gonna go in there and trying to take some head off. And wow, he did phenomenal. He definitely made me take back my words of being washed.
Yep.
Not in his prime. What is he doing here? McDonald's is down the street. All those types of things, to where like you don't expect a fighter like, especially after like the Bellator guys who have come in. Not a lot of good luck with them, because of course it's like and it was always so funny years ago. We always saw the competition of Bellator, UFC. What if they did like a one-night card? And I feel like those one-night cards or whatever, like UFC wins because of the things that we've seen. But it's nice to see Patricio Pitbull still representing what Bellator was all about, and that was just the craziest fucking fighters possible, and he is one of them. Dan Ige did not stand a chance against him, and we got ourselves Pitbull as a winner. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, man, I was right there with you picking Ige. I thought that similar to what you said, the Bellator situation where a lot of these guys haven't been looking good, and then we'd already seen Pitbull come in and lose to Yair, but Yair was also a tough debut. I feel like I should have considered that a little bit more, where maybe cut him some slack, where, okay, go from Bellator, where, yes, there's some of the best fighters in the world, but then you throw in there against Yair Rodriguez, who we know for a fact can hang in there with some of the best, 100% best in the world. So I think that maybe I should have gave him a little bit more grace with that performance, but man, he looked a lot better in this fight. He said he wanted to be more aggressive. He was a lot more aggressive. And yeah, even though Ige was really dangerous in there, he just never was able to control the fight, and Pitbull was able to do what he wanted in there and control the fight on the stand-up, and his footwork was looking beautiful. And shout out to Pitbull, man. One of those guys where he's been around so long, you kind of assume he's probably old and washed up at this point, kind of like Michael Johnson. But these old guys are showing, bro, you can't hate on the old men. Experience is a real thing, and if you haven't, and if you're not going in there against someone who is 100% focused on you, and maybe they're underestimating you because you're so old, and next thing you know, the old man gets to win. Dan Ige is not exactly young either, but he is actually 33, and Pitbull is 38, so definitely a big difference there. And the experience definitely showed for Pitbull, man. Shout out to Pitbull. What a dog. Perfect to say.
And another thing too, not only did he land a big majority of significant strikes, he also got 5 takedowns, dominant ones, and he was suplexing Dan Ige all over the spot. There was a moment where I thought he was gonna hit a German suplex, and I was like, bro, you might snap his fucking neck over here. But
goes to show how strong he is, though.
Exactly. I'm very happy that Pitbull had this fight, because it definitely proved me wrong, and it definitely made me think to myself, like, wow, I can't wait to see what he does next, because you mentioned his age, but he's still so active. He's still so ready to go. Somebody was trying to say like they should do him against who was the recent Bellator guy they debuted? Pico, was it?
Oh, well, he hasn't debuted yet, but he's going to. Yeah, I think his fight just got canceled, so he needs an opponent. Mosai Ivliov pulled out or whatever.
Yeah, I forgot who the last fighter was who came from Bellator to UFC and whatnot, and lost as well. I believe like he lost. But they were trying to say that they should set up a fight between those two. So I'll have to go back.
Oh yeah, Patchy Mix. But
Patchy Mix, yes.
Is he in that? I can't even remember what division he's in. But yeah, but Patchy Mix needs to look better too, bro. Oh my, he better
Exactly.
hope he bounces back like Pitbull
That's
for
why
real, bro.
if Patchy Mix can have that Patricio Pitbull performance, then the UFC will be in good hands. If not, then it's gonna be like a oof type of
Worried for
situation.
him for real, bro. That
Exactly.
was a terrible. His was 10 times worse than Pitbull for real, bro. So maybe I should have gave Pitbull some more grace after what happened with Patchy.
I agree. I agree. Then our next fight, after we lost out when Ige loses to Patricio Pitbull, we're on a 2-fight losing skid here. I feel like I'm Lucas Brzeski. But then we get into the next fight where it is Kevin Holland against Daniel Rodriguez. And what a crazy turnaround that we got. Last month, I believe it was, Kevin Holland goes against Vicente Luque, chokes him out in the second round, and is like, damn, that's all he got from me? I want some more competition.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes and fights a month later against Daniel Rodriguez, and he got competition. Not only did he get competition, he got a whooping. And it was crazy. I mean, they both gave each other a big whooping,
Yeah.
but it was just crazy. Fun fact here, both men threw the exact same strikes, 111. It's pretty
That
nuts.
is crazy.
But 59% for Daniel Rodriguez, 54% for Kevin Holland. Holland was the only one to land a takedown. Rodriguez failed at his attempt. There was no submission attempts. There was no reversals. Kevin Holland had more significant strikes than Daniel Rodriguez. There were 82 to 77, and but he did not get the more takedowns, or sorry, the knockdowns, because Rodriguez had 2 to Holland's 1. It was a fun fight. It was a fight, like another one of these fights where I just thought to myself, whoever is like, booking this card and whoever is like, betting on this card as well, please, for the love of God, tell me that somebody bet. Like, I need to know if there was somebody out there that bet on an underdog parlay card for this. Because if you voted Johnson, Ige, Danny Rodriguez, and like, and Costa as well, and all the rest of the card, you probably walked away with a big fucking fat stack of cash.
Facts.
Like, it's so good. But like Kevin Holland, I expected him to come in here and destroy Danny Rodriguez because if correct me if I'm wrong, weren't these two scheduled to fight before?
I believe so. Yeah, let me
yeah,
see.
because Danny Rodriguez fought was it Li Jingliang? Or
Yes, exactly. They were scheduled to fight, then they ended up switching opponents where
yes.
Kevin ends up fighting Khamzat because Nate Diaz pulled out or something. I can't remember what happened.
No. So Khamzat missed weight like 13 pounds or something
like
that.
Yeah.
And Nate was like, I ain't fucking taking on this bullshit ass fucking
fight.
I remember when this happened because I broke the news first because there was somebody at the event who gave me the update like, hey, he's pulling out. You better write this quickly. I wrote it quickly. 1,000 readers at one point. We had like live readers. 1,000 people were waiting for any updates. And then Nate Diaz versus Hamza Chimaev got pulled out. So Nate fought Tony Ferguson. Hamza fought Kevin Holland. Li Jingliang fought Daniel Rodriguez. It was such a clusterfuck, but it was also such a crazy turnaround of everything. Because I remember Nate choked out Tony Ferguson at 209 in the last round. I was like, if there's anyone to get like a perfect submission on their area code, it's Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
But Kevin Holland finally got his fight with Danny Rodriguez, and he got a lot to chew because Rodriguez did not want to let go. He did not want to stop this fight from even thinking about not going in his way, and he walked away with a big win. Big win. A winner that nobody expected. I didn't expect it. I don't think a lot of people expected it because everyone expected it to be Zellhuber, Ige, Holland, just all the favorites to win because it was usually built around that throughout the whole night. What were your thoughts on Kevin Holland coming up short against Daniel Rodriguez and Daniel Rodriguez getting this big win?
Yeah, huge respect to both men putting on an absolute war for sure. But yeah, man, D-Rod definitely has some nasty striking, man. And Kevin was just not able to adjust to it. And yeah, I think that it was a close fight. I'm definitely not mad at the decision whatsoever. And I think that man, I hate to see Kevin lose some momentum, but I think D-Rod maybe was a little bit slept on in this fight by myself included. But Yeah, man. Kevin, I feel bad. I was hoping he could go on a little bit of a run at 170 here. I wonder if he'll go back to 185 after this loss, or what's he going to do here? But, yeah, man, Daniel Rodriguez, huge win, probably one of his biggest. And he's already 38 years old, so this guy's going to need to get back in there as soon as he can, get another win, and, maybe he can make a little contender run. I don't know if he'll make it to the title run, but hey, man, make it. Just keep fighting, and you never know, man. Daniel Rodriguez, definitely a fun fighter to watch, and yeah, I hate to see it be my boy Kevin lose, but he just didn't do quite enough, and I think the better man on the night won, and yeah, respect to both of them. I think again, either this one or the main event should have won fight of the night, but that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, definitely a banger.
And speak about that 2022 card, UFC 279 Diaz and Ferguson, where Daniel Rodriguez did defeat Li Jingliang, which was very controversial. And people were like, "Whoa, I think Li won that fight because he edged out very quickly." But after that fight, Rodriguez lost to Neil Magny, Ian Machado Gary, and Kelvin Gastelum. Since then, he has been able to finish out October 2024 with Alex Morano win. Then he opened up the year in May with his fight year in May with a win over Santiago Ponzinibbio in a last-second knockout in the third round. And then now he defeats Kevin Holland as a 3-fight win streak. He's making himself look better each and every fight. He's getting I love what he said. The most significant strikes per minute. Like he's able to kick some ass. He's able to go out there and do his job. And I can't wait to see what happens next. I would like to see these two run it back, just maybe in a year or so, because it would be fun if Holland with what he experienced with a full training camp and what he can go out there and do. I think that it would be a lot of fun to see it. Whereas Holland, prior to this, he defeated Vicente Luque, he defeated Gunnar Nelson, he lost to Renan de Ritter, lost to Roman Dolidze, had a win in 2024 on Machaev versus Poirier card, lost to Michael Page, which everyone was like, you should have wrestled that fight, and then lost to Jack Della Maddalena. It's been a very big, 2-fight losing streak, wins. 2-fight losing streak, wins.
Yeah.
Now he went on a 2-fight winning streak, lost. I'm scared to see if his next fight will be a loss because it usually does happen. Like he was 2-fight winning streak, 2-fight losing streak, 2-fight winning streak, losing streak. Like
that is crazy.
Come on, man. It's very scary. But Holland ends up losing. Daniel Rodriguez gets the big upset win by decision. Unanimous to be exact, 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28. And yeah, good one. You know what I mean? Good on whoever predicted these. Right? Because we didn't.
We did.
So
the next one though. Shout out my boy Paulo. Shout out.
The secret juice came in handy in the co-main event.
Paulo Costa,
which I don't know if you noticed this, but Paulo Costa in his walkout music, I don't know if you heard the music or whatnot, that's the same song that Vasyl Lomachenko, the legendary boxer from Ukraine, came out to every fight. He came into that Matrix theme song every single time. Like it's great because there is no lyrics to it. It's just like the rise, and then it just it drops a song like the same one that Paulo Costa came out to. I always get hyped off of that. Like every time I go to either spar or train or whatever, that's the first song that plays before everything else plays because it gets you so amped up and gets you wants to work harder.
Yeah.
When I saw Paulo Costa came out to that, I wanted to text you. I fucked up. That song, it gets you hyped. So when you're hearing that, and then that Lomachenko, one of the greatest boxers ever, used that song, you're gonna go out there and kill this motherfucker. And Roman Kopylov, he had an opportunity in third round. We'll get to that in a second. But Paulo Costa, first 2 rounds, and then in the third round as well, when he was a little bit gassed, fought phenomenally. This was the first time ever I can actually say, wow, vintage Paulo Costa we witnessed.
Yep.
And it was great. It was a great time because I wanted him to win more than anything. But I was like, he's not impressed me in the past couple of years. The last time he had won was in like 2022 or 2021 or whatever against Luke Rockhold, who's now fighting Darren Till in a boxing event. So it's like, you think to yourself, Costa, I don't know about you, man, but I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov, who just knocked out Chris Curtis by head kick, but that was not the case here. Paulo Costa came out heavy hands all over again. It's like he went into a time machine and then brought back his old self and said, "All right, you go out there. I'm gonna go enjoy the brownies." And then we saw vintage Paulo Costa kick ass, from the kicks to the strikes to the to dropping his opponent. Everything that he did, he just did with pure intent of violence and chaos with every single strike. I love it. I'm so happy to see this vintage version of him and to be able to see him come back into the strength that he knows he is. Look at his size. He promotes Secret Juice all the time. And I remember his last fight, he had to pull out because of his elbow. It was like fucking split open because of a staph infection. He had some bad couple of years and some having to bounce back and everything, but he worked his ass off, and Saturday night was what he needed. And Roman Kopylov almost bounced back in the third round. I don't know what the deal was of keeping yourself away from. If Costa is in a corner and he's gassed out and like he's not even holding his hands up,
I know.
You gotta go for uppercuts. You gotta try to take him out.
Kopylov was hesitant.
He was very hesitant. I think he was scared to step in and get his face messed up. But brother, what is it to mess up, brother? You know what I mean? Like exactly. That's what you signed up for. Go out there and kick some fucking ass. But
for real, bro. There was some instances, where I'm like, he was hurt. I'm like, uh-oh. I was like low-key worried. I'm like, uh-oh. And then Kopylov would not throw for a minute. I'm like, you just rocked him. Why did he stop throwing?
Exactly. What were your thoughts on this fight? What were your thoughts on seeing Costa back in action?
But yeah, bro. I was like, wow, this is the best I've seen Costa look in a long, long, long time. At least 5 years. Like, this is... Because not only was his offense good, his defense, I don't know if it was just Kopylov was hesitant, or Costa's footwork has just improved a lot, but he was not getting touched up as he normally is. And I was just loving to see how he was controlling the fight. He wasn't letting the other guy dictate the fight. He was like, all right, I'm just going to do me and focus on getting my offense off and getting out and using my footwork, using my explosiveness, using my athleticism, and not letting Kopylov do what he wanted. And I don't know if that got in Kopylov's head or what, where Kopylov kind of stopped throwing, where there was some moments where I was like, okay, Costa might be slowing down a bit, but Kopylov was not able to capitalize whatsoever. And then Costa got a second wind and then would turn things back up. And I think that Costa, this is huge win for him. I was getting worried for sure about his future in the UFC because I'm guessing he probably has an expensive purse, so I'm sure the UFC would probably be like, okay, if you're not getting wins, you're too expensive to keep. And then next thing you know, we have to see Paulo fighting on PFL or something. So I'm so glad he was able to get the win back, and not only get the win back, look amazing doing it. It's one thing to get the win back and Kopylov didn't really do anything and look like shit, and it was kind of a trash fight. But this was definitely a very good performance from Costa. So right back into it, where he's one of the biggest stars in the division. So they'll give him a very, very good matchup where it's going to be someone in the top of the division next. I have no doubt about that. I'm wondering who it is, and I will see if it's the same Paulo that showed up on Saturday because, wow, I was hugely impressed. Probably the best I've seen him look. Maybe it's just because it was a step down a little bit with Kopylov, but, man, still an amazing performance.
I'm going to send an anonymous email to the UFC to book Kevin Holland against Paulo Costa.
For real, bro. That would be insane.
For some reason, I feel like that fight would kick a lot of ass.
Oh, yeah.
But Paulo Costa gets back into the win column. If he would have lost and he would have been cut from the UFC, I guarantee you he would have been right there standing after the fight with Darren Till and Luke Rockhold and said, "You're next. I'm going to fight one of you guys." Like, Darren Till against Costa in boxing would have been pretty fucking tough. Or even Rockhold against Costa in boxing. I'd pay to see that. That was the co-main. I was good on you. Good on you for picking Costa. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother.
I should have thought about that in the very beginning. I'm like, it's fucking Costa against middleweight Ben Askren, but like, what I mean? Like,
I was honestly, for some reason, I was thinking Kopylov didn't have as much wins as he did, honestly, where I was like, okay, knocked out Chris Curtis in his last fight. I'm like, okay, Cesar Almeida he beat. I'm like, okay. After I low-key picked Costa, I was like low-key a little worried, but I'm like, as long as this is the Costa as long as he's able to actually improve and he doesn't get worse, I was like, okay, I think he can do it. And
I
yeah,
agree.
thank goodness. He looked amazing.
He looked great. You know what I mean? I want to see him fight, very, very soon. Um, and in our main event, wow. This was the fight we were waiting for this whole freaking night. And we got the best appetizers to go with it. Like we're eating wings, like fucking eating fucking like stuff in your face with all the best meals possible. And then you finally get to dessert. And it was Max Blessed Holloway, the BMF champion, defending his symbolic gold against Dustin the Diamond Poirier in his final fight, not only in the UFC, but his MMA career, and ending it all off in New Orleans, Louisiana, his home, his place and everything, at the Smoothie King Center. And wow, it was just the emotions were great too. You know what I mean? Like
All the videos.
when Dustin came out, I got so fucking hyped. I started shadow boxing and shit. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
started feeling myself. Then Max comes out, the boos, the roaring, like fucking boos from everybody. I thought it was cool because it's like you're entering enemy territory. And it's valid as to why people are gonna be booing you. But I was so happy for how this fight ended up, for how this fight turned out. These two are the definition of baddest motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like this has been a fight to start your
Facts.
career off against Max Holloway, and for Max Holloway to start off against Dustin Poirier, to go into the prime of your career when you're both on massive win streaks, to fight for the interim lightweight championship, which is to fight Khabib later on down the line. It was perfect because we got before that Izzy and Kelvin Gastelum got put in the Hall of Fame, and then we
Yep.
got Dustin and Max that I don't know if it's in the Hall of Fame yet, but it better be in the Hall of Fame next year and everything. But these two were made for each other. It's like in like professional wrestling, you always get those big rivalries, or like in sports, you always get those big, whether it's a pitcher and a batter, whether it's a fighter and another fighter, whether it's a wrestler and another wrestler, anything in the world. Once you see that rivalry, you automatically know it's going to be a great one. And Max was down 0-2 in this
Yeah.
in this fight record against Dustin Poirier, and he didn't want to end it. He says, "My career still continues. Dustin's doesn't. Dustin will retire, and Dustin will enjoy the rest of his life doing what Dustin does best, and that's taking care of his his charity organization, taking care of his hot sauce, his merchandise, everything possible. So keep going and showing how great Dustin and Diamond Poirier is." And wow, first round into this, these two exchanging shots, trying to see which one's gonna land that lucky beauty shot, and lucky beauty shot came from Max Holloway, dropped Dustin Poirier right in the first round. Didn't want to go into the ground because last time that these two went to the ground against each other was the first fight, and Dustin Poirier walked away with a big submission win over Max. Max didn't want to have to go back down there. His whole style was stand and bang, so of course he wanted to keep it back up. Second round comes in, both guys rock each other badly. It looked like we were about to get a double knockout at one point, and I was like, holy moly. Because I feel like that's what everybody was hoping for. Like, they were praying to MMA God, give us a double knockout. You know what I mean? Let both guys get knocked out so that we won't have to, cry over, whichever way this ends. Like, we both get what we want. And then heading into the third round, let me get back into because I had it opened up, but then my computer wanted to be all flippy floppy. For some reason it was said light heavyweight bout between these two, and I was like,
that can't be right.
Like Max isn't light heavyweight. Second round we get 25 strikes, 47. Max leading. Max was just doing what he can to keep leading in with strikes. Only one submission attempt from Dustin Poirier in the second round. 44 of significant strikes to 25, a knockdown on Dustin Poirier's hand. Round 3 came in, and then we got no knockdowns from either man. 38 significant strikes to 21, Max leading with that one. No submission attempts, no takedown attempts, and it was 36 strikes to 21. Round 4 headed into it. 44 strikes to 22, Max once again leading. 44 significant strikes, no knockdowns from either man. But a lot of action. Like me saying this, it compares nothing to actually seeing the action and seeing these guys go back and forth. So if anyone's watching this and you can, go find that fight, go watch that fight, whatever you can. I don't know if Hulu still has the glitch, but there's a glitch on Hulu where the day after the pay-per-view is done, you can watch the entire card.
Oh, really?
Like you don't have to pay for a single fight for the card. You can watch each fight one by one. I remember I had to go somewhere on a Saturday night, and the next day it was a UFC, like like a big pay-per-view. The next morning, I just put it on Hulu and I watched the whole pay-per-view card for free. So whoever has
Bro,
Hulu,
W.
think that in the head. And then the fifth round, 46 strikes to 25. Max was just on one. He had, whether it's side kicks, head kicks, the spinning back fist, anything that he had possibly used, he was on one. And in the end, 200 one strikes to 109. Only one submission attempt from Dustin's side. 198 significant strikes at 109. That's what's the scary part about Max. He could throw 200 significant strikes and still be like, I could do 5 more rounds. I don't care.
Yeah, legit.
And both men knocked each other down, and they both didn't get fight of the night bonus. Like, how do you have two of the greatest fighters ever, and you don't give them a fight of the night bonus? They should have both got 100K.
Bullshit.
They both should have been told, thank you so much for making this card what it was, because I'm guaranteed it. Because of that fight headlining, everybody else on the card knew what they had to do. They had to step up their game and give us a big performance. Because what happens if the fight would have ended in the first round with Max's knockdown? You know what I mean? What happens if it would have ended in the third round from a Dustin Poirier knockdown, or even a submission attempt? There was submissions on the night. There was knockouts during the night. There was big decisions that we were like, wow, that was pretty good. Fight of the night bonus, understandable. Brendan Allen and Rory Vittori, understandable. What was the other fight that we were talking about? That was
that won it.
No. That like had like fight of the night, bonus, like Danny Rodriguez and Kevin Holland. I think it could have been like a good fight of the night bonus.
I think we were only saying Kevin Holland or no.
Brendan Allen and Marvin Vittori, that also had
that one won it. That one won it.
Like that won it and everything. But then it should have been the three fighters, like the 3 fights. Max, Kevin, and Brandon. Like all those 3 fights kicked fucking ass, and they should have gotten fight of the night bonus. I mean, we got 1, but we should have gotten more. And even Max was pissed off out of this, but I don't want to go too far ahead. Unanimous decision. Max Holloway won. Dustin Poirier did not get knocked out. Thankfully so.
Yeah, thank God.
I don't like seeing fighters get knocked out in the final fight, especially being like having to see the stars and to see the lights and having to take off your gloves and just still being in a state of disbelief. Like, damn, that was it. This was the end of my career. But no, these two kicked each other's asses. They left each other with bruises that will go away, but it'll always stay like deep inside, because as crazy as it is, it's so beautiful, the fight game. It's so romantic to see 2 fighters just try to kick each other's asses, whether it's the beginning of the career, the peak of the career, or the end of the career. What were your thoughts on this fight, and how did you feel when you heard the decision, and how did you feel overall after seeing Dustin Poirier in his final fight?
Yeah, man. Coming into it, I was curious to see. A lot of the times I get worried when these guys announce their retirement and then do one more fight. But in the case of Dustin Poirier, I was definitely a lot less worried than the type of guys where they're just getting destroyed and then they're like, okay, this next one will be my last fight. I'm like, maybe that one should have happened a few fights ago. But with Dustin, he definitely showed that he could still hang. And he by no means he has to retire, but I do think that, because he has made such a name for himself and has had such a long career already, made some good money, now he's probably going to be able to make more money once he retires, focus on businesses and just, helping his community. I think that, man, I think that in this case, it was a perfect scenario where Dustin still has it. He's not just going to get destroyed, and he deserves this type of send-off where fans for so long have been watching Dustin Poirier put on absolute scraps against the best guys in the division, the best guys in the UFC, and this is his first time he's ever lost back-to-back losses, so it was kind of perfect timing in that way, where his whole career he'd never lost back-to-back, even though he'd been facing back-to-back killer after killer after killer after killer. and he never lost back-to-back until now for his retirement fight. And I think that just perfectly shows that he knew when it was the time to wrap it up, and this was the time. And he put on one more show for us where this fight definitely lived up to the hype. I was a little scared in that first round when Max was able to drop Dustin. I was like, uh-oh, is Dustin about to get finished like in the first minute or 2 minutes or whatever that was? But thankfully, he was able to survive and get a knockdown in the next round of his own. So I was like, uh-oh, is he about to knock out Max? So I was like, it really was a roller coaster of emotions those first 2 rounds. And then Max kind of started to take over a little bit. But Dustin never once was backing down and was always putting on a good fight. And I think that definitely could have won fight of the night. I guess I'm a little surprised it didn't. I guess probably, like I said earlier, Dana likes to not give the bonuses to the guys that get paid the most or something, because I thought that was definitely fight of the night worthy. But yeah, dude, I just love those last 10 seconds where this kind of showed that Dustin maybe it was time to wrap it up, where they did the last 10 seconds and Max, they both throw a little bit and then Max lands a few, and then Dustin, he even said it in his post-fight interview. He's like, I got caught with a few, and he's like, let's just wrestle to end it out. He's like, yeah, there's only 10 seconds left. He's like, yeah, those ones kind of hurt. Because, yeah, dude, when Max throws those combinations, though, it's just insane how fast he's able to land. He goes body, 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 head, head. And it's just so overwhelming for these opponents. There's a reason Max is the best at it. And I'm glad that we were able to see these two men go at it for the full 25 minutes and put on an absolute show for Dustin's last ever fight. And, man, it was just beautiful afterwards. Seeing the whole tribute was absolutely beautiful. And Max's kid coming up to him, showing him respect. It was just overall super wholesome. And I think the best case scenario where no guy got knocked out, but both guys had crazy moments where they knocked each other down. And they just had so much respect for each other. And everyone was showing Dustin so much love. I love how Max was like, had a really short post-fight interview. He's like, I have business with the champ, but that's all I'm going to say for real, bro. I'm like, I want to see him fight Ilya at 155. But he said what he needed to say, and then he let Dustin have his shine, bro. So it was an absolutely perfectly executed retirement fight where it definitely was maybe not forced out, but perfect time for him where he doesn't have to take any unnecessary damage as he slows down and is able to walk away relatively no injury free and able to enjoy the rest of his life with his family. And hopefully, we still see him around. But hey, if not, if he doesn't want to be involved in UFC at all or combat sports, hey man, he doesn't need to be. So shout out to Dustin, man. I'm gonna miss watching him for sure, but I'm glad they put on one more banger.
Me too, man. Me too. It was emotional. I fucking teared up and everything. When I saw that Max Holloway's son showed respect to him, I was like, I love what Max said afterwards. Like, my son is like more respectful than I am. Like, like, what a fucking kid he is. Like, that's a very respectful kid. And of course, he learned from the very best. The best is blessed. And of course, like the people around him, I'm glad that he has good role models, and I'm glad that we were able to see that ending for Dustin and for everybody involved, because you didn't get forced out of the sport. You didn't have the sport retire you. You retired on your own grounds. And knowing Dustin, if Dustin was like any of these other fighters with no family, with no people, with no anything, he would have kept fighting. He would have kept going. But that's not what he's about. His whole thing of, I became a fighter was because I'm good at this, and because I can find a way to support my family and provide for them. And not only did he provide for them, he showed every single family member, and showed every single friend, and showed every single coworker and organization that he is the very best. He's one of the most respected fighters in the world, and he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He belongs to be immortalized. They should
100%.
A statue of him, guaranteed. Like, what he's done for the sport and what he's done for everybody. He's talking about a guy who in 2019 was like, I want to retire, and instead gave us 5+ more years of great action. Like, we wouldn't have seen a Benoit Saint Denis fight. We wouldn't have seen a rematch with Justin Gaethje. We wouldn't have seen a lot of these fights that he took on and said, I'm doing this because I love the fucking game, the fight game. And I'm very, very happy for him. And I was so happy that the way that it ended. Great card. I honestly I want to give it like a good 10 out of 10, like, because it made me happy. Before we do get before we do get into like the next card or whatever, I did want to say that I did not win at all on this main card except for the main event.
For real, we ended
Because
it good.
Yeah, but because I won in the main event.
Oh, it's winning time.
Yeah, motherfucker. Hold on. Hey, do you know what time it is? Do we know
What time?
Do we know what time it is?
What?
It's winning time! And it was a beautiful ending to a beautiful card and a beautiful time to watch all these great fights. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, Daniel Rodriguez, Kevin Holland, Dan Ige, Patricio Pitbull, Daniel Zellhuber, Michael Johnson, Brendan Allen, Marvin Vettori, Vinicius Oliveira, Kyler Phillips, all sorts of these fights that just kicked ass. It was an amazing weekend. It was great.
Yeah.
But then, now, let me put this back on hook. But now, we get into, before we do send everybody off, which, by the way, thank you for everybody who tuned in for an hour and 46 minutes of us fucking like going back and forth
Yapping.
of great yapping. Our next card, Saturday, July 26th, at a start time of 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm gonna go with that mostly because the Pacific Standard Time matters most. I don't care for the East Coast, but we have a card of Dave. Okay, so I'm gonna go from the top to bottom. Or sorry, bottom to top. My apologies. Davy Grant against Damon Blackshear. Then we have Muhammad Yahya against Steve Nagayan. Martin Boudet against Marcus Bocheca. Ibdi Aslan versus Billy Elikana in the light heavyweight division. Muslim Salikov is back. He'll be fighting Carlos Leal at welterweight. Amanda Ribas will be in action, number 7 ranked, to get in the women's strawweight bout against number 10 ranked Tabitha Ritchie. That should be a lot of fucking fun. Then we have a number 10 ranked Nikita Krylov against number 13 Bogdan Guskov, Bogdan Guskov has been a monster. So if anyone is looking to bet good money and make some good money out of it, you should bet on him. Light heavyweight bout. That's the end of the prelims. Then we get into the main card with Asu Almabayev against Ramazan Timirov, the Uzbekistan fighter, against Kazakhstan fighter in the flyweight division. Then welterweight Shadar Magomedov against Marc-Andre Barrault, middleweight bout. Then the return of Bryce Mitchell, the number 15 ranked Bryce Mitchell in the bantamweight division against Saeed Nurmagomedov, who is still unranked. Then our co-main event, actually no, it's not even my apologies, it looks like a co-main event fight. Number 3 ranked Petr Yan against the number 13 ranked Marcus McGee. That should be a lot of fun. I think McGee's gonna take a lot of fun one.
What a co-main!
No, that's not the co-main. This is the co-main.
Oh,
I made a mistake. Co-main featherweight bout. The number 1 ranked Movsar Evolov against the unranked Aaron Pico.
I think that's the one that got canceled. I think Evlov's out, so I think they're trying to fill in that one.
Oh yeah, you're right, because it said to be dated to be. Yeah, so that was the one that got canceled. So we have Marcus McGee against Petr Yan. My apologies to anybody who might have believed me right there for a co-second. We have that as most likely co-main event. And the main event, the number 5th ranked Robert Whitaker, the former middleweight champion, who will be fighting the number 12 ranked Rainer de Ritter, who just beat Bo Nickel. He just killed Bo Nickel, actually. So
embarrassing.
Very, 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 very big, beating that he gave him, like all those knees and all those whatnots. It's going to be a great card. That's in Abu Dhabi, Saturday, July 26th.
Early.
A very early card. It should be a lot of fun. I honestly think that this card could, pay off in the best way possible, and we could see new contenders rise out of it, like Marcus McGee, and such as Rainer de Ritter, if he's able to pull off that massive win. If he's able to beat Bo Nickel and stop the hype train there, and they're giving him this big fight where if you win here, the former 2-division champion will, more than likely be going for the middleweight championship, whether it's Dricus Duplessis and Hamza Chimaev. So whichever fight ends up, whoever wins, I think this is the next title fight that they could set up. But that was UFC 318, celebrating the career and the historic legacy of Dustin Poirier against Max Holloway. We, talking about the UFC Abu Dhabi card very briefly. Of course, we'll get more into that next week. to everybody who tuned in, to everybody who watches, to everybody who follows us, thank you so much. We really do appreciate all the time that you guys spend, whether it's morning, afternoon, or night, watching us talk about these fights from top to bottom, bottom to top. As you can see, I did not have a great main card, but it was a lot of fun no matter what. Nonetheless, this is the reason why I love the fight game, because it's the theater of the unpredictable, and you never know what can happen. Underdogs will always rise to the occasion whenever it comes to New Orleans, whether it comes to the culture there, whether it comes to anything that it inspires them to keep going. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. You can follow Bodyslam on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere that you go to us. Subscribe, follow, like, comment, do everything that you possibly can to keep showing us some love. Max, where can they find you at?
Find me at Combat Combos on Twitter and X. Check out all of our predictions. We always be talking about the fights, so check it out.
You should also plug your Instagram. You do some great art, my man.
Oh, yeah. And follow at Brawl and Draw with an L on Instagram. I have a art account dedicated to combat sports, boxing and MMA. No wrestling yet, but maybe one. Maybe one.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. But it's great art. I've seen a couple of fighters that have
yes, in fact. So shout out to Chase Hooper, Mo Usman. Those are my guys now.
Exactly. There was also a recent one that happened, I believe.
Yeah. I know I'm blanking on his name. Yeah. Wait, fuck, dude. Why am I blanking? Let me just check it. I'm picturing his face, but I just can't picture. Yeah, Phil.
Fresh, right?
Yeah. Phil. What is it? Phil. Is it Haas, right? Yeah.
Haas. Yeah.
So yeah. So shout out to Rami.
Morning, yeah.
Helping me out there.
It was awesome. It was the least I could do, because honestly, your all work is great. Everything that you do is amazing, and of course, supporting everybody here is the best thing that we could possibly do. But thank you so much to everybody who supports us, who allows us to every Monday come into this and talk about the fights. We're already 23 episodes deep. I took over like 2 weeks ago or so as the full co-host, because Brady has to go to war. I know that he's fighting for the Palestinian people. Yeah, he's fighting for the Palestinian people. He's murking motherfuckers. So I'm very happy for that.
He's winning fight of the night.
Yeah. But thank you so much to everybody who tuned in. You can of course follow me at Who Else for Rami on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, anywhere you can get your socials. If you add me on Facebook, I will block you and find you where you live and shoot you. Not actually, because please don't actually take me serious, because I know a comment like that could be like, whoa, he threatened me. Like, whoa,
JK guys. I forgot to say JK.
Guys, we're kidding. And who cares? But of course, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Next week we will be back for the Abu Dhabi card of Robert Whittaker versus Renan the Ritter. And we will be back for more and more future episodes. If there's anything that we can update people on, it's that the fight game is unpredictable, and you just never know what's gonna happen. Don't trust us for bets unless you see me wearing glasses. If I'm wearing glasses,
exactly. Prelims only.
Exactly. I might have to make this like a prelim dot for now, because I do great. I do great in the main card. Like last card I had only one fight wrong, but it'll get better. All right, thank you to everybody who tuned in. I keep saying that, but thank you to everybody who did. It was amazing. It was a great time, and we will see you next time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's the wrong word.
Thank you.
Thank you.